Picture this. You're high in the Himalayas, in the Deadliest mountain range. The air is crisp, it smells like pine, but the usual mountain quiet, it's just gone. Instead, you hear the thunder of military drills, the sharp crack of rifle fire, and the buzz of drones overhead. This is Vajra Prahar, which means thunderbolt strike. And right here, in these mountains, one of the biggest paradoxes in global politics is playing out.
So let's get right into it. On one hand, you have the absolute best of the best, American Green Berets and Indian Para-Special Forces training side by side, getting ready for high-altitude war. But then you look at their diplomats over the United Nations, and you see India sticking to this firm policy of neutrality, often sitting out votes where the US really wants them on their side. I mean, it's a real head-scratcher. How can two countries be so in sync on the battlefield, but so out of step in the halls of power? But the answer? Well, it's more direct and frankly more consequential than you might think. You're going to want to stay till the end, because I'm going to reveal some shocking things about why this is really happening. Now, let's get back to it.
So this is the heart of our explainer today. In the mountains, you see this perfect military team-up. But on the world stage, India gets called a fence-sitter, a label that they absolutely hate. So what is actually going on? Well, to get the diplomacy, you first have to understand the drill itself. So what is Vajra Prahar exactly? This is the 16th time they've done this, and that number matters. This isn't some new thing. It's proof of a really deep, long-running security partnership. It's all about sharpening the most lethal skills in one of the toughest environments on the planet. And, the location alone tells you half the story. Okay, check this out. They didn't pick Bakloh for the nice views. It's home to India's elite Special Forces training school. They call it the cradle of the Special Forces, and for good reason. The high altitude, the thin air, the brutal terrain, it's the perfect, most grueling place to master mountain warfare. This choice was 100% deliberate, and you're about to see why. And just look who's showing up to the party. From India, you've got 45 operators from the Parachute Regiment, the legendary Maroon Berets. These guys are veterans of some of the most gutsy operations in recent history. And from the US, 12 operators from the 1st Special Forces Group, the iconic Green Berets. These aren't just soldiers, they are the absolute tip of the spear for both nations. So what are they actually doing up there? They're not just practicing, they are perfecting how to operate together in the most extreme conditions. They're fine-tuning complex moves like cordon and search missions in thick forests and getting deadly accurate with drones and sniper teams. But all of these skills, they all point to one single vital goal: interoperability. Okay, so interoperability. It sounds like a bunch of military jargon, right? But what it really means is everything. It means if a crisis kicks off, can these two forces fight as if they were one army? Can an American drone send targeting info straight to an Indian artillery crew? Can their radios talk to each other without a problem? Exercises like Vajra Prahar are all about making the answer to those questions a hardwired yes. And that right there, that's the real question, isn't it? Building this kind of seamless military machine takes a huge amount of time, money, and trust. You don't do this just for practice. You do it because you have a specific threat, a specific scenario in mind. So, interoperability. Against whom? To answer that, we have to leave the battlefield and step into the world of diplomacy. All right, let's switch gears a little bit. We're moving from the soldier in the mountains to the diplomat in New York City. The reason this whole thing seems like a paradox comes from India's policy of strategic autonomy. It's basically the modern-day version of its role in the non-aligned movement during the Cold War, a flat-out refusal to be a chess piece for any superpower. So, what is strategic autonomy in plain English? Basically, it's India's playbook for today's world. It lets them build these incredibly close defense ties, buying American drones, training with Green Berets, while at the same time refusing to sign up for formal military alliances like NATO. India is basically saying, we'll make our own calls on our own terms based on our own interests, period. Now, you'll hear a lot of critics in the West call this fence-sitting, like they can't make up their minds. But if you look at it from New Delhi's perspective, it's a totally different picture. India says it isn't sitting on the fence, it is the fence. By not taking a hard side, it sets itself up as a leader for the global South, all those developing nations that want their own voice. It becomes a bridge in a very broken world. And this isn't just talk. Here's the proof. India is the #1, the largest contributor of troops to UN peacekeeping missions in history. It's a huge part of their identity, and it gives a ton of weight to their claims of neutrality. But see, that's all soft power, and soft power only gets you so far when a hard power threat is building right on your own border. Okay, so we've got the elite military drills on one side, and this solid diplomatic neutrality on the other. How do you square that circle? Well, you do it by finally talking about the one giant, unspoken reason behind all of this, the one I promised we'd get to. It's time to talk about the dragon in the room. So let's go back to that question. Interoperability, against whom? You have to understand the training, the tech, the location, none of it is by accident. It is all pointing in one direction, at one very specific and very powerful adversary.
And this is it. This is the whole key. The location is everything. You don't practice fighting at 10,000 feet in the Himalayas unless your biggest military headache is right across a high-altitude border. And after deadly clashes in places like the Golan Valley, that threat isn't just a theory anymore. Holding Vajra Prahar right here is a direct, crystal-clear strategic message aimed at one city, Beijing.
So let's break that signal down. First, the focus. This whole exercise is about getting ready for what might happen along the line of actual control, that disputed border with China. Second, the message. It tells China, and everyone else, that while India might stay neutral on faraway issues, when it comes to its own neighborhood, its alignment is perfectly clear. And third, the partnership. It shows a powerful, real US-India commitment to balancing China's power in the Indo-Pacific. So now it all clicks into place. This isn't a contradiction at all. It's a really sophisticated two-part grand strategy. We can finally see how the soldier in the mountains and the diplomat in New York are on the same team. They're not working against each other. They're two sides of the same strategic coin. Here's how it all works together. On one hand, India uses its UN neutrality to build global influence and respect. That gives it diplomatic room to maneuver. On the other hand, it protects its own backyard through these powerful, targeted military partnerships, like Vajra Prahar, aimed right at its biggest threat. Two totally different paths, all serving one national interest. And you know, this quote from our source material just nails it. The Indian Maroon Beret and the American Green Beret are brothers in arms on the ground, bonded by shared risk. But their countries are still going to play the complex game of global diplomacy their own way. And that's not a weakness in the partnership. It's actually what defines it. It's the beauty and the complexity of the whole India-US story. So that leaves us with one last question, and I really want to know what you think. Now that you've seen both sides of the coin, the military power and the diplomatic strategy, what's your take? Is this policy of strategic autonomy a brilliant move for the 21st century? Or is it a balancing act that just can't last forever? Let us know what you think down in the comments. And for more deep dives just like this one, make sure you hit that subscribe button for all the latest updates. And hey, check out the video that's popping up on your screen right now. Thanks for watching.